How would you characterize the beginning of the GPT-5 era? If I think about 3, 4, 5 as the major versions, I think 3 is very text-based, kind of like early Chef, really getting started. 4 is multimodality and all these different low latency, long thinking with O3. What's going to be the 5 flagship thing? Obviously, the year of agents, right? That's the meme.
Yes.
But is there something else that comes to mind that people should think about? Okay, with 5, now we unlock X.
Yeah, I think it's smart. I think that the intelligence of these models is starting to be just almost undescribable, right? It's like there's still limitations. There's still ways in which they fail. But it really is the case that for extremely hard domains, like look at the IMO results, right? So you can take a model that's been trained on this reasoning paradigm, and it's able to write proofs that is at the level of the best humans, right? And it's like in this specific domain, there's limitations, et cetera, et cetera. We haven't proven like an unproven theorem, any of that stuff, but it's real. It's like, it's undeniable at this point that these models are able to perform great intellectual feats. And I think that's new, right? GPT-4, I think, was like much more, it was kind of capable and commercially useful across a wide range of applications, but the ideas that it produced were not very deep, right? The problems it would solve, it was not very reliable at. And I remember for GPT-3 actually trying to teach it how to do even basic stuff, right? That like we kind of realized, hey, you could do this few shot prompting. So you kind of showed a few examples of something and then I'll basically kind of do that task. And so I was like, okay, can I just teach this thing to sort a list? And I gave it like 7 numbers to sort. It didn't sort it. I was like, okay. Then I tried to write a whole script of like, I'm a teacher teaching you how to sort numbers. Here's an example of sorting 2 numbers and then 3 numbers and whatever. And I'd be like, okay, now here's 5 numbers and total flop. If you ask GPT-5 that, and I've not even tried, by the way, asking GPT-5 to sort a list of 5, arbitrary numbers, but I am like certain it will do a perfect job of it out of the box, no problem. By the way, it does have access to Python tool as well, so you might want to disable that. But the point is that the intellectual leaps that these models are capable of assisting humans in is something that we're just starting to see. We started to see it with O3. And you can see professional mathematicians starting to kick the tires on GPT-5. We've seen physicists starting to kick the tires on GPT-5 and say that like, hey, this model was able to rederive an insight that took me many months worth of research to produce. And that's the kind of thing where it's like, you realize this will speed you up so fast, right? I remember doing my own math research back in high school and at the beginning of college. And I'd spend just like so long just trying to manipulate these objects in my head and think about connections between things. And if I had a partner that I could actually talk to about this, who would actually spend the time to deeply understand what I'm thinking about and produce new insights off of what I'm suggesting, that would have just sped me up so much. It would have been so much more fun, right? Because you don't just like kind of get caught in this loop of just sort of thinking about it off on your own and thinking, you're like, wait, I already thought this thought, 2 weeks ago. And so I think that there's just something new about pushing forward the intellectual frontier together as a partner with GPT-5.